Let me unmute it. Let me unmute us. You want to guess what song or what game this song is from?
Sunshine?
No, incorrect.
This sounds like Mario Party.
It's a little bit. Maybe it's that music team. No, because it's okay. It's Mario, but it's Sega.
What?
But it's
Sega?
It's one of those Sega
so okay.
CD games?
Here, I'm gonna read what it says. Beach Overworld, and then it says it must be like referencing New Super Mario Brothers Wii, but in parentheses it comes from the video game Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games. So
Oh.
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah, I never would have guessed that.
Me neither. Here, let's go here. Okay. All right. Let's. Actually, I don't need to turn it up there. Put that there.
Are you streaming?
Oh yeah, I should be streaming. Yeah. Hello, everybody.
I have to do the bit, you know.
Yes, absolutely. Are we still? We're
Wait,
still
people
waiting for.
can hear us?
Are we waiting for Mike?
Yeah, he's not even online yet. I saw him
Oh.
just
He
going and
just
that's
called
it.
in. Didn't you hear him? He's showing the call. On
Yeah.
the
Was
phone,
that
and he's
him?
like,
That was him,
yeah,
right? Okay.
I'm
he said-
coming, and I'm like, don't say that.
Okay.
I want to be surprised.
No. Come on. I'm pretty sure to ban
gonna end up in
yourself,
the mod hole
Chris. Yeah, Chris. Christian, you gotta like put yourself on timeout for what you've just done here.
My brain is just I got her.
Yeah.
I got her. I watched
we
too
did-
much of that Resident Evil, and my brain is just something now.
Yeah, that's fair. We did a quick look for hypercharged, and we said the word "come" way too much on there. Way too much for that video game about toys.
I heard something about
related to toys in a jar.
Yeah. What? Wait, toys in a jar?
Jesus
What?
Christ.
Yeah,
Oh,
isn't that
gross.
game about like toys?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
The only connection I can do is with that weird guy, you know.
Fair enough. What were you gonna
Otherwise,
say,
what
Turbo
would you
Sean?
say come on that quickly?
I heard
specifically?
something about Pogs.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's a game about like it's like a toy store or whatever, and there's Pogs all over the ground, and like POG, and then you can build on the
there's-
Pogs.
Right.
But then
right.
yeah.
Is it
bro.
out? Is that quick load out?
The quick look is out. Everyone can watch it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch it later. I watched 8 hours straight of a show, and I'm just I don't know who I am
Yeah.
anymore.
This is a good
Well,
time to
since
do a
we're,
podcast. 9 p.m. Eastern times. Probably
Sure.
okay.
Regularly scheduled? Maybe
don't
not.
Yeah.
It's always to be. Oh, there we go. I think it's always a good time to talk with friends.
Yes, exactly.
That's true.
There's Mike Minotti. All right.
Right.
Yeah, okay, speaking of friends,
Okay.
Fran.
Dang, roasted.
Wow. Okay,
I'm definitely not gonna be Mike's friend after you read my question for today.
Uh-oh.
What bosses?
shit.
What could you have said about what bosses? What did you just go out of your way to say you don't
No,
like Super
no.
Metroid's boss?
Well, no. Not for Nintendogs. You are doing
Wow.
Game Mess Decides today, Mr. Mike Minotti, and my submission for today is
That's right.
unique.
Look, I may have just gotten up from a nappy nap, and I'm making a little confused.
Mike, your shirt looks like it should be like one of those, what is it, Ascension? What is...
is that
Yes,
Kingdom
but
Hearts?
Mickey Mouse is on it.
Yeah, but
that's
Mickey Mouse
Kingdom
is on
Hearts.
it. And it
why-
also
yeah.
looks like it should be a sweater, and it's a t-shirt. Like, there's a lot happening
looks-
with this.
It looks like something I would have bought at Kohl's in 2009.
What's... Yes,
Well,
it
you know
definitely
what?
does.
That's probably about the date of this shirt, so that makes sense. It may have even come from Kohl's. Let's be honest.
What is that? What is that shirt brand that all the like UFC fighter wears?
Affliction?
Affliction. Yes, it looks like Affliction.
Yes,
there we
it looks
go.
like Affliction.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Okay. All right.
I
Let's
own
see.
one Tap Out shirt, which was like off-brand Affliction that I got for Christmas one year. For
Sure.
some
Yeah.
reason.
Let's see. I'm gonna do podcast rundown. There it is.
Bring up stream mode.
Switch to this tab, huh? Okay.
My job. Jeff,
Oh.
who's gonna come after work tomorrow? So
No, I'll just say that. No, you say the concept, but you can't say the word come.
I was like, what did I do? Oh, no.
When are you going to arrive?
You have to say arrive.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine it'll probably be like 7:30ish.
Okay.
Your address, then I'll crunch
If
the
you, I'm
numbers.
just gonna say, if you want to try to get here before 5, you could just hop on at the end of UPF and hang out with me for the rest of that. But I understand it, like if you have other things happening. So
Well, maybe I'll sneak away from work a little early.
He
you just
doesn't.
let me know, and you just come to the front door, and stuff will let you in, and you come on down if I'm working. So.
Yeah, figure it
It's
out.
Jeff, don't let him in.
Although you can be careful on my front door because we have a glass door and then the door, and the sun hits that glass door, and like the area between those two doors like becomes like 250 degrees Fahrenheit. It's just like this
Jeff doesn't want
oven.
me to burn myself.
I don't want you to burn yourself. Yeah, this is not a
thought you were
Home Alone
worried he would,
I'm
situation.
gonna burn myself and sue you because yeah, it's your home.
Yeah,
I thought you were worried you would like run into it like a Windex ad or something.
yeah. Well, that too. What else do I need? I think
I know I could do. Jeff. I could just co-author a tweet saying we're live, right?
Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Do it. Do it. Do it. What happens when you co-author one? Because I did it to you, but I don't know how what happens. How do I receive it?
You have to. Yeah, that's a good question. Like, how do I actually co-author?
Well, okay, you hit the plus
Can
button.
I do it too?
And then tweet, and then there's a you might have to do it from your phone.
From my phone? Well,
Yeah.
then, never mind. We'll figure it out next time. I just tweet here in the tweet.
Okay.
Oh, I wanted to do it.
Somebody playing Sonic music?
Let's see
Yeah,
what this track
once
is from. Let's see what this
Just
track
want
is
to
from.
get
Let's see
found
here.
from YouTube.
10:53. So that means Windmill Isle. What Sonic game is this from?
Oh, Lost World.
No.
No, this one's from Unleashed, I believe.
Unleashed. Sonic Unleashed.
Suck
Yes.
it, Turbo Sean.
Mike, were you listening to this earlier? Did you hear what we said earlier about this one?
No.
Okay, don't lie. What is this from? Then we'll start the show, everybody. Sorry. Here, I can turn off the
I'm
video.
just listening. You sound vaguely familiar. I don't know if I know this one. Is it also Sonic?
No, it's a Nintendo Summer Music Mix. This is Beach Overworld, New Super Mario Bros. Wii, but via Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games.
Wasn't gonna get that one.
Yep.
I fucking got it.
All right.
You make me feel so good about getting that Sonic game.
Yeah. Well, it couldn't last, could it? All right. Let's. Let me finish this
soon?
tweet.
Man, I want a PlayStation All-Star
When will
Battle
that
Royale game now.
Be now.
Yeah, and Christian, you're right. That game was good.
That
What
game
game?
was good.
What game?
Battle
PlayStation
Royale.
All-Stars.
PlayStation All-Star.
But I
It
think
was
Mike-
great.
Mike
I
likes
liked
it
that
too.
game.
Yeah.
I've never played it.
I disagree with Christian.
Jeff, was great
Jeff, you
too.
should download a ROM of it or something before I get there. I'll show you the
Oh my
ropes.
god. Yeah, that sounds like a very good time to me. All right. I sent you a
load
co-authored tweet, Mike. All right.
Oh
Let's.
God! Oh no! Yes, you get a
Oh, send
mail
it to
message.
me too. I want to co-author a tweet.
Why would
Weird.
you offer it? No,
What the
Yes.
hell is co-authoring a tweet?
Yes, send it to me.
no, don't.
Send it.
Can more than one person co-author a tweet, or is it
Yes.
just two?
Why would
More than one more than two.
Jeff? I know you can never say no, but it's time to draw.
No,
a
I'm not.
line.
I'm not in charge of this. I'm that. Fuck you, Christian. I don't give a fuck.
Send it to me, and then I send it to somebody else. And then
I'll
we
send you the
it to
goddamn
another
Phantom
person.
Zone. Are we good? I'm like completely lost on starting this.
You need
podcast.
to show the podcast on the stream.
That seems silly. All right, let me see here. Let me do the. Whoa.
Yeah, listen.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
What the- That's the slowest crawl I've ever seen.
I can do slow. I can do slower if you want to. Do, all right, you asked for
You
it.
have to like do all this stuff on your phone. You're right. It's weird.
Let's see. Let me try.
Let's
that
get
was the
into it,
slower.
like
That was the
Kazul
slower.
said.
That's
Why did you change the name? Jeff doesn't work at GamesBeat anymore, Mr. Symbol.
There we go. There we go. That's extra slow.
Oh, I hate you. Is this a Star Wars movie? What's going on?
Okay. Okay. I'm so
Fucking
sorry.
George Lucas
I
edited
discovered
this
some.
fucking movie.
I discovered some new wipes in OBS, and I've been messing around with it. So we'll put an end to that. All right, everybody. I just need to test the music, huh? Let's test the
I got
music.
some wipes for you.
Oh, great. Oh, good. So,
I
Mike,
was
what?
talking about Com earlier today, so
Mikey, what are we gonna do when you come over?
All right, I won't say it.
Oh, God damn it!
I thought we'd play some video games.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll like watch a dumb movie.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll go.
Oh,
see something
yes.
Cool. I mean, on Saturday we're gonna go to Chris's birthday party.
Oh yeah,
in
what time
Cleveland.
is that stuff happening? Because I gotta
Early-ish.
tell my family. Okay.
So
Cool.
I think they're gonna they might leave here at like either 10 or noon. So we'll probably meet them there at like
What?
either
Nathan
noon
Drake.
or 2.
Where'd you go? Okay.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, what did I do?
I don't know.
Can you guys hear that?
What did you do?
My video button.
Yeah.
I fat fingered my video button somehow. on Discord.
Oh.
I was talking about Cleveland. I got excited.
Why is it going through 2 channels? No, it's not. There we go. Just the one. Okay.
Oh, Nathan Drake is on the chat.
Okay.
Let's fucking go.
Let's. Hello, Nathan Drake. Oh, sweet.
Oh, cool. Oh, wait. No, I like Nathan Drake. Not Nathan Drake's yelling at me. I like how he's going to claim
You like
that this
Nathan Drake?
isn't the same guy. It's like the same exact like writing style and everything.
Yeah.
It's the same points.
I don't know.
Who likes
Wait,
Nathan
no, wait.
Drake?
This is a joke because he's saying they're 2027 games. This is a parody, right?
I think so.
Who
Maybe
knows?
yes.
This one's a joke.
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of these people. You never know.
Hey, the money spends the same. $2. We'll get a $2. I'll get something special for you, Mike, tomorrow for $2. We'll
Yeah,
figure
you
it out.
will.
All right. You heard the music, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I sure did.
Well, then, in that case, we should start this stupid show. Let's
Shit,
do
I
it
should
now.
you know what I have to do? I have to open up.
You had the news rundown and everything.
Yeah, I got we got the big episode, the big stuff we're gonna talk about. Yeah. Okay. I'm counting down. I'm starting. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Right.
All right. Ready, Mike?
Yeah, they did announce Bayonetta on Wednesday, didn't they? Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah. Because we didn't talk about Bayonetta. Bayonetta was the day after.
So we talked about Kirby.
We talked about Kirby. That's why I don't have
They
Kirby
went back
here.
to back on that.
But I'm sure we'll bring up Kirby a little bit in Bayonetta. So yeah, we'll talk about it. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask them. You know what? I know what I'm forgetting. I'm forgetting to open up Discord in here
Yeah.
so that I can have it.
Follow along with the questions.
Yeah, let's go Discord app. Open Discord. That way I can get the Discord questions.
Age is gonna take Penny out for me tomorrow night and Friday morning. I gotta see if my mom or dad can take her out throughout Saturday before I get home.
Podcast producers, threads. I know what the threads are. Okay. Here we go. All right. 5, 4, 3. I lost my mouse. Where is it? Okay.
I thought
2,
you just forgot to count or how to count.
3, 2. It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this. Welcome to the Game Mess Decides podcast. This is the podcast where we decide everything about the world of games so you never have to think for yourself. I'm your host, Geoff Grubb. With me is
Mike Minotti.
In today's episode, we have some news to talk about, the big stories of the week. We've been playing video games, which is, different for us. And well, I don't know. We're gonna hang out this weekend, Mike. I mean, I was gonna ask you how you're doing, but you got the car gassed up. You ready for the dredge? Did you print out your MapQuest directions and everything?
No, I didn't do that. Yeah, no, I got gas today. Yeah, tomorrow I'm going to Jeff's house in Cleveland. This will be the first time I've seen you, Jeff, since what E3 was it?
It had to be 2019, yeah.
It's a while. I think it was before your second child was born, even. So it's been a while.
Yeah, right after I think she was born. Right after she was born, so she would have been a little baby.
Okay.
There wouldn't have been anything to say because she was like, it was the second kid and she's still a little baby. So yeah, I probably didn't even talk about it much.
Right. Well, I remember the E3. You told me that you and stuff were pregnant with me.
Right.
That's what I'm remembering.
So that would have been 2016.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Basically, last time I saw you, nobody cared about us, and now people mildly care about me and mildly care more about you. So things are on the up and up.
Things have changed. Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna hang out tomorrow night. We will play some games. We might stream a little bit. I don't know. I got the whole thing set up. Yeah, I got the whole thing set up. We'll just do it. I got the microphones and everything, so we might as well just make it happen. So we'll sit down. We'll play a little bit. We'll go on live on my Twitch channel and stuff like that. It'll be a good time. Everyone should hang out, and then And then yeah, we'll go into the weekend. Then we're gonna hang out. We're gonna do stuff in Cleveland. I'm looking forward to that as well.
We're gonna show Geoff some of our favorite Cleveland haunts.
I'm like excited to like actually get in there and like look around the city because I have not done that at all yet. So
get to the bowels of Cleveland.
Get into the bowels of Cleveland, which is most of Cleveland, to be fair. But I'm fine with that. That's fine. I'm fine with that. All right. Thank you everybody for joining us. You get more from Mike and me by joining the Discord at GameMess.net. If you want to ask a question, you can drop a super chat during the show on YouTube. Communicate with us for free by emailing us at games plus. No, you know what? It's just games@gamemess.net. And I'm going to set that up tonight. I'm just going to do it tonight. Thank you to Carlos Ain, who's Insane in the Rain Music on YouTube, for the use of our theme songs. We are on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and wherever pods are caught. Give us a good rating wherever you are. It helps people find the show, especially if you give a thumbs up on YouTube. That really helps people find the VOD. And you just do it right now. If you're watching live, do it now. Hit that thumbs up button. It'll show this to more people. More people can come join the fun. Thank you to the mods. They make the Discord and this community really great. You could support the show by supporting us at patreon.com/GameMess. That gets you access to the private channels inside the Discord, our monthly Q&A, our monthly Jeopardy game. You could also hit the join button right here on YouTube. That'll get you all the same benefits as well. And again, that's GameMess.net. If you just put that into a browser, it's going to take you right to the Discord. So nothing special there. Just put GameMess.net into your browser. It'll shoot you right there. All right, Mike, we got some topics to get to. I think we should probably just hop right in.
I'm excited.
This feels like in no particular order. Let's just start with this one. PlayStation announced their new loyalty program for PlayStation consumers. I'm like, this is like, feels like one of those small things. It's like, at what point do they decide, hey, we're just going to do this too? Because Microsoft has their like Bing rewards thing that sort of just applies vaguely to Xbox, and Nintendo has My Nintendo. And it just seems like the kind of thing, like, eventually every company does this. And Sony, I think, had this idea, like, we're a premium brand. We don't need to do that. But at a certain point, like, why not just take advantage of all this loyalty that consumers do have for the PlayStation brand and just pull the trigger on that? Now, they said they're going to have digital collectibles, which they specified very vehemently that they are not NFTs. Do you have any interest in collecting digital collectibles as part of your PlayStation Star? What is it? It's called PlayStation Stars is what it's called. Do you have any interest?
It's gonna be like those Steam trading cards that I still get notifications for sometimes. Like, oh, these, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Probably something like that. Now, I think Blessing on Kind of Funny Games Daily that today said they should have these things for PlayStation Home and bring back PlayStation Home.
They should. I mean, it's funny because that's like the big thing now is the metaverse. They were just way too early. They're almost so early that even though we all made fun of it at the time, it's kind of impressive how early they were there.
Yeah, it's. I think they were obviously just too early, right? But I mean, I say that. I don't know if any of these metaverses are going to last either.
Well, sure, yeah.
Many of them could PlayStation Home and just burn out eventually.
Right. Maybe not early in terms of being able to make a lot of money. Early in terms of like, well, they were thinking about this abstract thing before other people. Good on them, I guess.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that you could see like that would add value to something like a loyalty program because the people would want to collect extra digital goods, I suppose. But I think what they found out it was pretty hard to keep people interested in that stuff because how many times really are you going to have people over to your digital apartment? Maybe that is something like a new generation of players would care about more, but I think the people they were appealing to back then, it wasn't going to make a lot of sense. PlayStation Stars, I guess, Mike, the question is, do you use any of the loyalty programs for any of these things?
I feel like I sometimes redeemed some of those Nintendo things, My Nintendo points.
Yes.
Although sometimes it feels like when they have really cool things for those, they sell out really quickly anyways, and I can't get them. Or they make me like answer 20 Mario quiz questions before I can get them or something like that, right? So
it's only for the true fans.
Yeah, Geoff, they are never in the forefront of my mind until somebody reminds me about them. If there's something specifically really neat I can get with them. So I don't think about them often. Yeah,
I'm kind of the same way where the one thing I do like a lot is the gold coins that you get for making purchases of either physical or digital Nintendo games.
Right.
And like if you give a physical version, it comes with like a little code. I think I haven't had a physical game from Nintendo in a long time, but that's what it used to do. And these days, it's like if I get a digital game, it just automatically adds gold coins to my account. And then I bought 5 games, and then I go look and I'm like, I just feel like buying something from the eShop. And I say, oh, wow, I have $15 worth of gold coins here. and then I could just trade them in literally as money, and I can buy an indie game that only costs $15, and I don't have to spend anything extra. That's like that's a pretty cool thing, and that does get me, like, encourages me, like, hey, I remember I have like $10 in the eShop, and I could just spend that whenever I want. Everything else is mostly I kind of don't care. I would not care about any digital collectibles no matter what. To me, that's might as well just be, you know, hey, come download a free wallpaper for your phone or for your computer. Like, I don't care about any of that. But
Same.
That doesn't mean that's all Sony's going to do. They're probably going to have many ways of capitalizing on this going forward. Let's see. Bayonetta 3 is coming October 28th. Mike, Nintendo's holiday is really shaping up. What do you think about Bayonetta 3 coming out in October? And what do you think about Nintendo overall this holiday?
They're pretty stacked. Bayonetta is especially nice because we talked about this before. Otherwise, it's kind of a RPG heavy fall for them, and this definitely isn't that. This is, you know, just super straight up fast paced action. Even though I'm not the biggest Bayonetta fan in the world, Geoff, like some people, I'm pretty excited about it. So yeah, I am in the mood for this. It's surprising how kind of crowded. I mean, I guess it always happens, but it felt like, oh, this is going to be a slow fall, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, Bayonetta 3 has to come out the same day as Modern Warfare 2 because, you know, things are already crowded anyways. I guess it may as well counter program there.
Yeah, it's like at a certain point it just flipped on its head where I mean, it still doesn't feel like the busiest year, but it's busy. This is still a busy second half of the year where there's enough games coming out that you kind of can't just pick a weekend and have it to yourself if you're something like Bayonetta 3 anymore.
Here's a good question for you, Geoff, right? Because Bayonetta is going to get some kind of a Switch sales glow up. The question is how much of one. And a previous October Nintendo game we were hoping would get a bigger Switch sales glow up was Metroid Dread. Is Bayonetta 3 going to sell more than Metroid Dread? Is it going to sell more than 3 million copies?
That's tough, but I'm going to say probably because it's a 3D game. And it's well, I don't know. Yeah,
I mean,
because it's a 3D game.
Astral Chain sold 1 million, right?
Right.
Or something like that. And you would think like Bayonetta 3 should be at least 3 times more popular than that.
Right.
Right?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's probably going to outsell Metroid Dread. They appeal to a similar audience. It's not families. It's not kids. It is, you know, the gamers who grew up playing games and have a Switch now. And I think Metroid Dread did really well with that audience. I think Bayonetta will probably do even better because it will just hit a slightly wider spectrum because of its like flashiness and because of its it being a 3D modern game that really won't have a hard time convincing people that it's worth $60 in the same way Metroid Dread had a slight uphill battle doing that.
Plus, it'll sell at least 1 million extra copies since you can put clothes back on Bayonetta, right? You can force her to not be naked.
Yes,
which
let's
is
see here.
every pervert's dream.
From Mr. Bowler on the Discord, hello, Grubb. With the announcement that Bayonetta 3 is coming with a naive angel mode, I want to know what moment in a game made you most embarrassed by what was on the screen, particularly with someone else in the room. So he's referring to naive angel mode being you can cover up the nudity in Bayonetta 3 using this feature specifically because they like said this themselves, Platinum, like, we don't want someone walking in the room and then you being embarrassed. I'm like, this is the first time a game developer has really spoken to the things that really scare me about playing video games, that someone's going to come see what I'm really doing.
Right. Yeah. That name's beautiful, by the way. Naive Angel.
Yes.
That's great. I think I might have talked about this recently. One of the first games I ever reviewed was called Artanelico 2. And it was like the standard like 2D JRPG for the PlayStation 2, a very late PlayStation 2 game. But like you had these girls that you were like in your party and they had crystal slots and you had to insert crystals into them. And it was voice acted and the dialogue was just straight up like, this is an analog for sex. Right? Like the girl would be like, oh, please be gentle with me. It's like, oh, am I doing it right? You know, stuff like incredibly over the top stuff like that.
It's that old Adam Sandler bit, like, are these people having sex or are they working out? Like, exactly. We are definitely having sex. We are not working at all. It's like, they're having sex. Like, no, they're working out. You got it wrong. Like,
I remember that from that CD.
That CD from 2 centuries ago.
Yes, the one with the goat on it.
Yes,
right?
the one with the goat on it.
The talking goat. Wow. So, that one definitely comes to mind. I would actually have worse truck with Star Trek of all things. You think Star Trek is safe? Every Star Trek show has at least one episode where a virus makes everybody want to have sex with each other.
Right.
Whenever I had friends over, that would be the show, the episode I happen to be watching.
Well, what's his name was like kind of obsessed with like what is sex going to be like in space.
Yeah, but even after Roddenberry was dead, people were they were still kind of not over this idea yet.
Yeah. For me, it's like I play my most embarrassing games in the dark dankness of my basement by myself in private. When I've been embarrassed about what's going on the screen, it's usually like I'm in my true sicko mode with something like Trials, and I'm trying to do a really hard jump perfectly, like 500 times in a row. And so you'll just hear the engine revving on my motorcycle in Trials in the exact same way 500 times. It's like vroom, 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 and it's like almost that quick. And my wife just will eventually come over like, what is this? What is this sound? Why is it doing this over and over and over again? And I have to like explain that I'm trying to do this thing perfectly. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I know it doesn't matter. It's just a game. I'm embarrassed, but I can't help it. I got to get it perfect. So that's me. That's when I'm most ashamed, when people see me playing games.
Do you think that when Daisy comes to Mario Strikers for the Switch, they're going to release it alongside of a naive mode?
Yes, absolutely. I really hope so. So that I can.
She's going to be wearing like a bubble suit or something, so we don't have to see the curves of her ass.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, she'll just be wearing very bulky padding and stuff. Absolutely.
She'll be wearing like a trash can.
All right. And okay, just real quick, I just saw this. Well, no, wait, I'll ask. We'll do this one later because we'll save it for the end. Okay.
Don't get excited, Geoff.
Yeah, well, it's the one where Turbo Sean was teasing you about it, so I'm like, I almost wanted to just jump to it. Okay, Bayonetta 3. I'm excited to play it, Mike. I'm ready for this. I think that it's been so long since Bayonetta 2 that I thought I wouldn't care, and yet here I am, like, oh, that looks like a lot of fun. It looks flashy. It's kind of exactly what the Switch needs. As long as the game runs well,
yeah,
I'm gonna be happy.
Hopefully that won't be a problem. So, but yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. The only thing that makes me hesitate is Platinum has been on a bit of a losing streak lately, right? So I hope they kind of regain some mojo here.
Nintendo could have announced this. They could have announced Kirby, which they did earlier this week. And we talked about that on Nintendogs. They could have announced those things along with some other stuff that we assume is still going to happen, like Metroid Prime, in a Nintendo Direct. They're not doing that, obviously. It seems like that was probably never the plan, because as we were hearing back in early June, they were going to do a series of smaller things. And this definitely feels like it continues to be the part of that, a series of smaller announcements. But this stuff feels like it probably could have justified a Direct, especially if you throw it in with a lot of the stuff they put in the third-party partner Direct as well. What do you think is going on here? Why don't they just do a Direct?
Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of pondering about this online on Twitter, and basically the two responses I got to this is, one, they couldn't because they didn't have like the one big thing really to talk about here. And part of me is like, you could kind of manufacture one, right? You could be like, hey, look, here's the name of Breath of the Wild 2 at least, right? Here's a trailer for that. That's something. Maybe some people are going to be like, oh, that's not enough or whatever, but it would still be something. Some people are saying that it's just better engagement to do it this way. I'm skeptical of that, Geoff. It might be true, but Nintendo Directs get a lot of attention, right? That's a lot of people watching. I know you get a lot of attention on Twitter. Is it as the same kind of attention? Is it the same quality of attention? How much
I just don't think that stuff translates into dollars the way people think it does. I know that God of War Ragnarok has got it's got so much engagement on Instagram. Like they put out the trailer and it already has 5 million views or something like that. I'm like, well, that's a lot more than it's probably going to buy it on that day one. I guess it's probably for God of War Ragnarok, it probably will be 5 million in the first week or so. So yeah, that works for that game, absolutely. But even like most games could come out and get a lot of views, get a lot of attention, and they're probably not. It doesn't just immediately translate into sales. Like I feel like if that is the reason they're doing it, because it's better engagement. I don't know if that is exactly. I'm not convinced by that. I do think that the Direct gets so much more attention for so many other games at the same time that it sort of, maybe it feels like it diffuses some of the attention a single game would have got, but that single game probably would raise the profile of everything around it. I think it's more beneficial, but I could be wrong. Maybe the data doesn't agree with that, but I guess we'll see if they continue to do this sort of stuff when they get past a certain point where okay, now it's weird they're not doing a direct. It's not so weird based on what we know they have coming that they didn't do a summer direct. It's not the craziest thing in the world. But if they never do another one for like the next year, then it'll be like, okay, they've clearly just changed their strategy.
I mean, there's still so much we kind of need to know about Splatoon 3 also. So there's so many of those details they could have thrown in. When they announced, that Pokemon Puzzle League is coming to NSO, they could have just done that in a direct. So yeah, I definitely feel like they had enough to do one. Maybe not the greatest direct of all time, but they could have done a direct. So it is a little weird, and I do wonder what exactly they were thinking. But it's Nintendo, they Nintendo.
Final Fantasy 16 has dropped turn-based combat to appeal to the disgusting degenerate youth of the world, Mike. Listen, I'm not really all that serious about this because I'm not the core Final Fantasy audience anyhow. I do enjoy turn-based combat in games, but I like real-time combat in games just fine too. I just kind of wondered, like, that's basically what they said. They in an interview, I think with Famitsu.
That's what Yoshida said, right?
Yoshida said, like, hey, he was like very diplomatic about it and
he always is.
Very thoughtful. He's like, listen, I'm not.
He's so dreamy.
Yes, he's. My God, we get it. You have a crush, Mike. Jesus. He was like, listen, I'm not saying this one thing's good or bad, but we've looked at stuff and we thought about it, and we think this is probably good for right now. That doesn't mean it will never happen again. Mike, will another Final Fantasy game ever have turn-based combat? And I mean, like a mainline numbered one.
Right, because like they could do a World of Final Fantasy or another mobile thing, and it might have turn-based.
Oh, it certainly will, yeah.
Yeah, number one, not anytime soon, Geoff. You never want to say never. Maybe in 10 years, 20 years, right? They're gonna probably be making Final Fantasy still, and maybe at some point, they're like, let's do that again because the last two didn't do very well. Let's go back to our roots or something. But for the immediate future, probably not so much. They haven't done the last main numbered Final Fantasy that was actually turn-based. Was probably 13.
13.
Even that was, yeah, we'll say that one was. 13 was pretty turn-based. And a lot of people don't even like 13 very much. And since then, even, not so much. And
although, Mike, to be fair, I never heard anyone complain about 13's combat. That was never
everyone
the issue.
Did like, that is actually that is the thing people usually do like about 13. That is fair, Geoff. But people also liked 15's combat and 7 Remakes combat specifically,
Absolutely.
Which was a really thoughtful blend of action with the turn-based stuff. And so is also 15 way. Like, none of them are like Kingdom Hearts or, or they suddenly become Nier Automata in terms of how fast-paced and action-based it is. So I think it's been fine so far. They're still very RPG-y, even if they aren't necessarily.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of what I want. As someone who doesn't play a lot of Final Fantasy games, I still want them to feel like they are, like there's some RPG commandness in the combat, like just like a menu popping up that you can activate while the combat is still real time mostly. Like that's kind of all I really am asking for, I think.
Right. I want that, and I want like my build to be important. I want it to really matter, like what kind of equipment I have on, maybe what sort of decisions I made in some menus somewhere, things like that. And a lot of stuff is kind of still unclear about 16, really, Geoff. We don't really know, except that when you do these kind of giant fights with the summons, that there are kind of some different modes that you jump into for that. Like one might be more like a fighting game, one might be more like a wrestling game, stuff like that.
Right,
and core combat,
that's good stuff too, though.
Yeah, the core combat right now mostly looks like 15, and even 15, like again, it wasn't like a hack and slash. You actually held down a button to attack, right, and then it kind of became. While you were doing that, you were thinking about the other. It was almost like you were thinking about it in a weird turn-based way, kind of, except you're just like, I'm holding down this auto attack button instead of waiting for my ATB bar to fill up. And maybe even that's a stretch. But no, I don't know. As much as I love the old Final Fantasy games, Geoff, it doesn't really bother me. There are other franchises like Persona, like Dragon Quest. And Ron said this today on Game of Society, and it's true. And even these smaller things like your Bravely Defaults and these indie games like Sea of Stars coming out that are just doing turn-based fine anyways. So if you have that particular itch, it can always get scratched.
Exactly. And I think that you said it when we started this topic. Never say never. There will be a world in which Final Fantasy needs to refresh itself again. And one of the cards they will pull at that point will be like, and for that classic audience, we're going back to turn-based for this one.
Right.
They'll do it eventually. It will happen.
Final Fantasy 30 could be turn-based ATB system, and everyone will freak out.
Yes, exactly. Active time battle is back. Like that will be and that's That'll be cool then. Right now, I get what they're doing. They're trying to expand the audience, and they need to for Final Fantasy. It doesn't even sell as well as Luigi's Mansion 3.
Right, exactly. it is going to be. I am very curious how well 16 sells. Like 15 sold pretty well, especially given like all the difficulties they had with that one. I feel like the expectations for 16 are going to be higher, although it's not going to be multi-platform like 15 was. So maybe it has a disadvantage, right? 15 came out on Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah, but you kind of hope that it being like an early standout PS5 game still, hopefully that's enough to like get it. Everyone who owns a PS5 just has to play this game. Maybe that's what they're hoping for. Also, they're probably happily just cashing those Sony checks and stuff.
Does it kind of immediately get positioned as the next big PlayStation exclusive after God of War? I mean, Forspoken, I guess, but that doesn't seem like nearly as big a deal. No. It's kind of sandwiched between there now.
Yes, it's the next big one. Absolutely, it's going to be the thing. Everyone who has a PlayStation, they like is a kind of like into that scene is going to be talking about, and then they'll get to look forward to Spider-Man and Wolverine
and Spider-Man and Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 or Rebirth, right? Excuse me, Rebirth.
Right, exactly, and then eventually Wolverine whenever that gets finished. Okay. Konami is getting ready to relist Metal Gear Solid games. Any hopes for that, Mike? Do you have like because I'm kind of hoping that they take this opportunity to one, make sure this never happens again. Because what happened is they have a lot of B-roll that the licensing fell off for, so they couldn't sell it anymore. And that's the real issue. People could still play the ones that they already own. But if you were trying to go buy these games on many platforms, it's very difficult to do that right now. And these are some of the biggest games of all time. It's kind of baffling that there's no way to purchase them. They're going to fix this. They've said that. But do you just kind of want those old games to come back as is? Or do you have expectations that maybe they could do more? Obviously, the caveat there being this is Konami.
Right. I mean, I would be perfectly happy if they just did like a 5-game retro collection with Metal Gear Solids 1 through 4 and Peace Walker. Relatively just, a lot of those games have had HD versions already. Just repackage those, kind of give that treatment to 4. I'd be pretty happy right there. I like these games a lot. I like the way that they play. Even like the cumbersome stuff about that is aged. I'm fully adapted to it. But I do think some of them are still pretty ripe for remakes. I think 3 does make the most sense. That's when everybody talks about because it had never had a giant remake treatment before, right. And it's probably the best one.
That one almost certainly is getting something.
Right, that's the rumor.
The rumor is like Virtuous from China is working on that already, and that sounds right. I think there was a lot of talk about Virtuous working with Kojima, and I think that was a conflation of what is really happening, which does seem to be this Snake Eater coming back.
Right, and that'd be great. Snake Eater is fantastic. That's definitely my favorite one, and I'm ready for a replay. A lot of people have been replaying it. I know Tam was just playing it on his Twitch not too long ago, and I'm watching him like, I can go for this again. Yeah,
I was talking to Tam about it. I'm like, I need to like get into that stuff. I was also talking to Tam. Turbo Sean, I was talking to Tam about getting to know Rock Lee from Naruto better. So I might be watching some Naruto here pretty soon.
Oh no.
He's a bad influence. Okay, breaking news, Mike, you ready?
Yeah, is this about the Nintendo tweet?
Yeah,
I just got this too. Yeah, 7 minutes ago.
Yeah, okay, so what does this say, Mike?
So apparently Nintendo just so they said that it's just they had a tweet saying that Pokemon Puzzle League is now available. So it just came out for NSO for the Switch. Excuse me, I'm reading this right now. So great. I'm going to probably play that tonight. Very excited. Oh, Geoff, we can compete on that one later.
Oh, yeah, that'll be fun. Okay. I got to get some practice in.
But then they say specifically under that, more Nintendo 64 games will be added to Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack. Stay tuned. So it is nice to have that. We assumed, but it's nice to have them explicitly say.
Yeah, but why do they feel the need to say this? Like, of course there are more coming, Nintendo. You have so many good games you haven't put out yet. Why would I have assumed you weren't going to do that? Like, I assumed you were.
Oh, wait, there's another tweet under this. They said, but we will never release Super Mario RPG on the
fuckers.
Wow. And then fuck Jeff Grubb.
Wow.
Below that. Man.
All right, Doug Bowser must be writing these tweets himself because, listen, I'm gonna get you, Doug. Wave Race 64, Excite Bike 64.
You sound like Roger Klotz. I'm gonna get you, Funny. I'm gonna get you,
Doug. Get you, Doug Funny.
Hey, Doug. You got ketchup over my suede shoes.
Okay, I was like, I can't really remember his voice. I'm picturing in my head perfectly right now, but I can't remember his voice.
Yeah,
then you did it.
You could forget
that was very good. Okay, well, listen, that's exciting. I suppose they are probably going to keep up. Like, they would not have said this if they weren't ready to, like, just go right into their monthly schedule again with something new next month as well, right? Because Pokemon Puzzle League and this month, something new next month.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of things. I wouldn't be surprised if Wave Race or 1080 are coming pretty. Wave Race in August, when it's still a bit summery, sure would make a good amount of sense, right? But who knows if they're even thinking that hard about it.
Yeah, I imagine that part of the like, well, I guess maybe this is me projecting, but GoldenEye is happening. It probably does involve something with Nintendo Switch Online as well. I wonder if that, like, just throws a little bit of a wrench. We're like, oh, are we okay? No, all right, put out Pokemon Puzzle League, but who knows? We'll see. We'll know more next month, especially because is it in August is the anniversary month, or is it July? I think it's August, so maybe we'll find out more next month. Okay, let's see, where was I at? Assassin's Creed Rift is reportedly set in Baghdad. This is Jason Schreier was responding to rumors that it was had an Aztec setting. So when I was seeing that, I'm like, well, I don't really know for sure, but the things I've been hearing and I haven't been able to confirm are it's set in Jerusalem. And then he came out, Jason Schreier came out and said it's set in Baghdad. And then I went to Google Maps and I looked and I'm like, oh yes, Jerusalem is right there. It's all in the Middle East. That makes sense. It's probably going to have to take place in that entire region. So that sounds right. It's also going to be like much more like a classic Assassin's Creed game. And it's coming much sooner than Assassin's Creed Infinite, which is their big live service take on Assassin's Creed, whatever that means. I'm kind of glad that we have at least one more. I don't feel the need to play.
Assassin's Creed pervert.
Yeah, I'm not an Assassin's Creed pervert, but I like many of the Assassin's Creed games. But I kind of just pick and choose the ones I'm going to care about. This one feels like, hey, they aren't going to give us Infinite right away, so maybe this could be like one last hurrah with Assassin's Creed before who knows what happens next.
Well, you say, Middle East, and that's where the first one took place. And you say it's like really going back. I wonder, like, is that all tying into it, like familiar setting that. Because, I like the first one actually a lot, even though people are kind of critical of it for some of its repetitiveness. And I like the first one, the second one, and then Brotherhood, still probably my favorite ones. Black Flag also, but almost because of things that had nothing to do with Assassin's Creed. So I'd be more excited about that than, even if they did the big, it's in Japan and it's another 500-hour RPG like Valhalla and Odyssey.
Yes.
So, here's hoping. I want to see what it looks like.
To that end, the other thing, and this, again, I can't confirm this, but since so much of the other stuff is true and I'm hearing it, this other stuff I heard from the same source, the one coming up after all this other stuff, supposedly, or maybe it is part of Infinite, I don't know, but it'll be much more like the RPG ones, and it's going to be set in Japan, so I don't know.
I could see that, like, the whole point of Infinite is that they kind of just keep that'll be the Assassin's Creed game.
Right, exactly.
Play like Valhalla, but they can just kind of add chapters or whatever like that, or modules to it. So I assume if you want to get people on there right away, why don't you launch with the Japan module, which is like one people have been asking for forever.
Exactly. It kind of, yes, it feels like that's you're exactly right. That's a really good way of framing it. All right, Mike, I am done with the big topics for the week. If I've forgotten anything, I'm sure we'll get it from the questions and all that. Speaking of which, do we have any super chats?
We have some super chats, but also if you're watching live right now, please hit that like button. It helps more people find the show. I'm going to read this first wave of super chats right now, but if you guys send in any more after I'm done here, we will get to them before the show ends. I promise you that. Oh, I promise you that. Our first super chat here is from Uriel Delgado, who asks your thoughts on the Banjo-Kazooie Sumo Digital rumor. What's this, Geoff? What is Sumo Digital rumored to be doing with Banjo-Kazooie?
Yeah, I mean, Sumo Digital has done. I'm trying to remember. They've done like a lot of those Disney Infinites. That's what they were working on before. Let me see their games here. Games Archive.
Oh, they did Sackboy Big Adventure. That's
right.
Interesting.
And they did the Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed.
Yes. And also the newer, less exciting Team Sonic Racing.
Right.
Okay, like that doesn't seem like the worst fit in the world, even though like Sackboy Big Adventure is closer to being Banjo-Kazooie than a lot of these other things because it is a 3D platformer, but a pretty different kind of 3D platformer. I mean, that's going to be a tall order for whoever takes that job on, right? Making a new Banjo-Kazooie. And I imagine fans are going to be skeptical of it unless they literally just went out to Playtonic, right? And told them to do it, which I wonder if they ever actually thought about doing that, or Playtonic would even say yes, which would, that's the ukulele people, right? So again, I don't know if that's ever been on the table. So that's an interesting rumor, though, Geoff. I could see that. The only other thing that they're working on right now is some Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, which is, of course, every horror franchise has to have a new game these days.
I mean, the things we've always said about this, and I'm sorry, I was doing something else, so you might have touched on this. It's who could do Banjo-Kazooie.
Right.
I mean, you could pick a name out of a hat, and Sumo Digital feels like one of those possible names. And I know you mentioned the ukulele people and a few others, but it's like
people have always guessed Double Fine, but I don't know if they would want to like jump into.
I think they've specifically said they wouldn't want to do it. So there are like, if this is what it takes, I think I'm okay with that as long as Microsoft holds them to high standards. And I just don't, I don't know if that's something that they feel like they're so spread so thin. There's so many projects happen over at Microsoft. Matt Booty has got 50 phone calls he has to make every day to see how things are going. You add another thing to his pile. This feels like the kind of thing that just is like, oh, we're doing this because we feel obligated and not necessarily because we want to. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
You talked about this before, Geoff, how one of Nintendo's big advantages is how they have that family audience. And I can't imagine a franchise under their belt at Microsoft that has more potential for tapping into that with a direct lineage to Nintendo, really, than Banjo-Kazooie. Yep. Like, if you can make that work, that sure should help quite a lot.
Yes, absolutely. All right. I thought you were joking, Mike, when you said that Nintendo... Oh, wait, hang on. Let me transition over here. There we go. Become a Pokemon master in Pokemon Puzzle League, and then it says, and we will never release Mario RPG. Fuck you, Geoff Grubb. It says it right there. There's the tweet, everybody. So
yeah, I'm not a liar.
Mike's not a liar, I guess. And thank you for pointing that out, Christian. I really appreciate that.
GameSpot must have it even worse than Nintendo Joe than us. You guys are in solitary confinement. You get daily beatings from the guards.
All right, let me transition us out of there. Okay.
All right, next one.
Yes, go ahead.
From Nathan Drake, who I think might be a familiar face, and said, "You lied. Fable, Avowed, Hellblade, they're 2027 games," which sounds like a joke. Then he came back with even more money. He said, Reddit kept track of your claims. You do backtrack. You/Jez are Xbox hype men. Xbox has no games next year or 2024. 007, 1 versus 100, Belfry, criticism equals Xbot killer, clown face emoji. There's he writes the same exact way. There's no way you aren't on the same people.
Listen,
only one of them is ever doing super chats per show.
I don't know. I was watching Kind of Funny Wrestling on Monday, and Gruesome Greg's character, who was kicked out of the league earlier, and then a character who looks just like him but dressed like Ronald McDonald showed up, and everyone just pretended they didn't know immediately it was Greg. We're not wrestling. We're not keeping kayfabe here. We can tell that you are just Xbot killer in clown makeup.
Xbot killer, PlayStation slave, whatever the other names were. Yes, we can. Yeah,
we're not children. All right, it's the obvious lies don't work. It's so surprising. Listen, thank you for the money. Thank you for the money. That's all I really care about.
Drake, thank you for bringing up the same things we've already addressed before. Jez is an Xbox site, but Jez works for an Xbox themed site.
Yeah, well, he doesn't talk enough about how much he loves PlayStation. It's about Xbox. It's his job.
Okay, so unrelated to Nathan Drake, from the Uncharted Wolf, says, how many games have you guys started versus finished this year? I've started 35 games and beaten 31. I have a harder time starting games, funnily enough. Geoff, I was usually very good about finishing.
Yeah, you were one person I know who's pretty adamant about that. About finishing games you start.
Yeah, lately I've been a little worse about it just because of the Steam Deck, and I'm just starting so many things to see how they are on there and whatnot. So a little worse, but still generally I'm pretty good about beating things. Although even aside from Bug Fables, we did the Game Club even, and I didn't even really get to finish it. So I'm slightly worse about it this year. I don't have numbers though, but how are you generally about that stuff?
I'm pretty bad, and I don't even try. I'm not even I'm bad about it. I just don't care. This is not something I'm gonna let myself judge myself about anymore. Where hey, I am just going to start a game, play it for a little bit, and put it to the side, and that is okay. I'm not gonna keep a spreadsheet of like things I started and then things I finished, and sort of so I can have those comparisons. I'm just going to engage with the hobby in a way that I'm most comfortable with, and for me, that is usually not thinking too hard about what finishing a game means or needing or like that or getting accomplishment from that. For people who do, hey, more power to you. That's fine. It's just not for me. I'll finish games when I finish them, and yeah, most of my accomplishments, however, will come from the things I do in the game, the ideas that I come up with, the stories I'll tell, or the leaderboards that I crush. Specifically, Mike Minotti in. So,
yeah. Please, I haven't been back at Cascade. I am like trying to zero in on beating the game now. That's my big thing in Neo 1.
I'm like, I should worry
about. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying maybe I should set up, because I have everything pretty much ready to go. I could set up a computer. Maybe we could do like head versus head matches tomorrow night or something like that. I'll see.
Write down my settings. Like, what is my sensitivity?
Yeah, there you go.
Like
you gotta bring your own gear. Like I got my own mouse.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So then we could just worry about the overall time, and it'll be easier.
Yes.
Although, gosh, you're probably still halfway through the game. Like,
yeah, I need to just beat it. I know.
It's hard. I know. It's hard because you see those times where I can read that right now.
Yes.
Maxie says, Sony started their rewards program 12 years ago. I used to use it to pay for Plus. They shut it down around 2018, and this is just the revamped version. Man, if they did, I have no memory of it.
Was it called PlayStation Stars back then? I'm not asking you, Mike. But yeah, probably something different.
The Multi-Man 123 says, Jeff and Mike been loving the SD. Steam Deck. Have been having a blast replaying old SNES games. If you guys ever played X-Men Mutant Apocalypse, game is my fave. I only played the Genesis X-Men games, Jeff, and the first one, and then X-Men 2 Clone Wars, and they were pretty good. I don't think I ever played the SNES one.
My wife, I played the Genesis ones more recently after my wife told me a story about how her and her sister just struggled with the game at one point because it would be like, you have to shut off the computer, and then you have to actually like hit the reset button on the Genesis to beat the boss. And I'm like, that's crazy. I never would have figured that out. Yeah. But apparently it worked for them. They actually did figure it out, and it worked for him. So that's how you beat the boss.
Tusk, where there was a puzzle where you had to close the DS. And I was like, what? I'm not thinking like this.
Yes, I don't have that much lateral thinking skills. I like X-Men games. The one I really actually do want to put on the Steam Deck the most is the X-Men Wolverine X-Men Origins game from Activision. I like that game a lot, and I haven't played it since it came out, and I don't think you can buy it anywhere anymore.
Speaking of old 90s side-scroller games, I need to show you Terminator on the Sega CD, because you were talking about quite a bit. Were there any good ones? I think this is the one pretty good one aside from the arcade game. Not Terminator versus RoboCop for the Sega CD, just the Sega CD Terminator game, which is a relatively kind of basic-y run and gun with very good music and fun 2D graphics.
Bethesda made a first-person shooter just before Quake called Skynet, and it's just it sort of feels a little bit like Shadows of the Empire, or a little bit, but it's first-person shooter for the PC, and it's I don't know.
Bethesda made it. Bethesda didn't make Quake. They acquired Quake later. What are you talking about? I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't mean that they made. They made this first-person shooter before the game Quake came out. Okay.
Yes. I'm sure I said that incorrectly. That's fair.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. So before Quake came out, they made a first-person shooter that's like really pretty good for like an early first-person shooter that it was using polygons and stuff. And it's for Terminator. And it's called Skynet. It takes place in the future, like the future wars, stuff like that. It's pretty cool from what I've played so far. I'm going to play that on UPF this week, so look out.
Nick Turbo's right, talking about games they beat. I can't believe he didn't even beat Astro's Playroom, which is like a 2-hour game that you played for like 30 hours.
Oh,
total
more than that, probably. Yeah, probably like 60 or 70 hours.
Maybe that's just what I'm going to do tomorrow. I'm just going to like make you play through it and have fun.
That's a good idea. That could work, yes.
You stupid idiot.
Like, I'll just be playing that off to the side, and you could like be streaming something for the audience or something. Like, that's my punishment. I'm not allowed to join the fun until I beat Astro.
Infernal Tim 1 says, I feel like Bayonetta 3 would have sold gangbusters 2 or 3 years ago, but it was announced so far out that I just don't see the hype for it as much anymore. I don't know about that, Jeff. Maybe. I don't think that this one's going to suffer too much from it got announced too early and people don't care as much anymore. I mean, they announced it with a logo at the Game Awards. It was Reggie, right? Or he was there at least. And they announced first the ports of 1 and 2, and then they said, and 3 is coming. And then they were kind of quiet about it for a while.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm sure this was not the ideal circumstance where they were releasing it all these years later, but now the game is sort of reemerged. They have a release date. They could spend the next couple of months getting people excited for it. Once it's here and it's one of the big Switch games for the holidays, I think it's going to do just fine.
Ariel Delgado says, in Sonic 3, Shadow will likely not say his iconic catchphrase. Huh, nice caulk. Damn shame if you ask me. He also says, what Sega IP do you want to see get adapted? I want to see a Bass Pro fishing movie.
Sure.
Jay-Z Crazy Taxi as a satire mockumentary would be good. No, I want, and I got the Dolphin movie. I want it played very straight. I want it to like the game. I want it to look incredibly realistic, like not be cartoonified at all. And have this weirdly serious tone, and then aliens show up, but it's still kind of being taken seriously. Yeah, I want Echo the Dolphin. Echo the Dolphin all the time. Thrax says, how long until Quest 64 is the next Nintendo 64 game? Let's be honest, we know what's happening. That'll be the last one.
Yeah,
right. To go to Quest 64, we're in trouble.
They're like, hey, today we are launching Quest 64, and today we are shutting down Nintendo Switch Online. Sorry, everybody.
Yeah. Gamer Nation says, know anything about a Sony/From Software collaboration? Geoff, are they going to be working together again? I mean, if they did,
yeah, I mean,
it would be for Bloodborne 2 or a Bloodborne remaster, right?
Yeah, there's always been like ongoing talks there. There's been a lot of tension between From getting pulled in all these different directions, where they clearly have this ongoing relationship with Bandai Namco. They were like establishing a relationship with Microsoft, and that created tension with Sony, I think. And so, I think that they probably do have something going. And when does that manifest? I have no idea, no clue.
That's it on the super chats for now, Geoff.
Fantastic. Okay. We have questions from the Discord community, which you can get into by going to GameMess.net, joining the Discord. And then from there, you could find the link to the Patreon, stuff like that, patreon.com/GameMess. That'll get you into podcast producers, which is where these questions come from. From Doc7. Hello, Geoff, the only person under the age of 55 who uses Edge browser, Grubb. And Mike used Edge once to download any other browser, Minotti. Listen, it's just Chrome now. They just turned it into Chrome. So
yeah, but it's got it still has the stink of.
Oh yes. Oh, I do not deny the stink. I would never deny the Internet Explorer stank that is all over this browser. Which video game characters have the best beef as rivals between them? I'd choose Dante from the Devil May Cry series and Virgil. Despite being twins, they have opposing motivations and have fought more times than either can remember. I do like where DMC5 ended, with them forming a somewhat begrudging alliance, but with mutual respect.
Yeah, that's good. What's the best rivalry?
I mean, it's Ryu and Ken, right? I mean,
yeah, that's pretty good stuff. They're almost too buddy though. There's not enough actual friction there, right?
Yeah, too much sexual tension there, definitely.
Too much sexual tension there on that one, yeah. Sonic and Knuckles is always fun, although they haven't really done much to make that more interesting.
Christian says Mario and Luigi, and I like that one because Mario doesn't even know he's in a rivalry.
Mario doesn't even know that Luigi has any negative feelings about their relationship, or feels slighted, or is insecure, anything like that. Mario's just like, I'm Mario! What's happening today? I'll do that.
There's people in chat who have opinions about Edge. And most people are positive about it, so we are legion.
Oh, man. Oh God, I only use Microsoft Edge if something's not working for whatever reason online. I put it in Edge to make sure it's not just something with Chrome, and it almost never is.
I have two browsers on this computer. Neither of them are Chrome or Firefox. It is Microsoft Edge and Opera GX, the web browser for gamers. And I think that might be the full official name for it. I just needed another browser that I could install to be like, I'll have this one dedicated to my music bus, so that when I need to play audio for one of my podcasts, I could just play it in there. And that way, when I forget to turn everything else off, I won't have things accidentally going through OBS or whatever. And it works fine. There's dedicated links in there for Twitch and stuff. It's very extreme.
Going back to this rivals thing, what Turbo Sean said, mentioned Pokemon Red versus Blue is pretty good. Because Blue is just an asshole, and I don't like. He's not evil,
right?
He's not a villain, but I just hate him. And one of my least favorite things about the newer Pokemon games, a lot of people complain about this, is how your rival is always actually your childhood friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's just very nice to you, and you beat the shit out of him. He's like, "Wow, that's great! You're so strong." I'm drunk too. I was like, "Oh my God, you are so milquetoast. I just want to kill you."
I think you mean Milk Tank, actually, Mike.
Now you're so Milk Tank. Milk Tank.
No, Milk Tank.
With a strong K.
No,
Milk Tank's not even... After the whole Persona 4 Golden thing, Milk Tank is not even a grievance anymore.
You won that game where you got the Persona 4 Golden thing, so...
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God. Honestly, thank God.
yeah, it wouldn't have been cute.
I let you win because of that. I don't want to deal with this, so that's a good thing. From Laoshin, hello, gents. Hope your week is going well. Geoff, Xbox Superstar Grubb, and Mike, Spicy Bubbles Minotti. Questions. With the lackluster announcement of only 2 PSP games for premium, we didn't talk about this. I'm glad he's bringing it up. Do you think Sony is taking a page from Nintendo? The slow rolling of game releases into the premium tier since the service is only $20 a year. That's for the Nintendo thing. It's not like it's $18 a month if you're paying monthly for PS Plus premium. Generally, people now agree that the base Nintendo Switch Online is a good value at $20 a year, but it wasn't so in the beginning. What numbers of games or which games do you feel that are needed in PS Plus premium tier for it to be a good value? He's got a point here where it's going to build over time and eventually something's going to teeter over and be like, okay, it's fine now. But 2 games a month does not feel right for the price right now. There he goes.
Excuse me.
There he goes.
And I mean, I even forget already. I think at least a different territory got Ridge Racer 2 for the PSP, but we didn't. Honestly, Geoff, it's such a nothing drop there, and there's a lot of other stuff coming to PlayStation Plus that was exciting.
Yeah, on the extra tier, which is included in premium, and it's like a lot of it was like 5 Assassin's Creed games, maybe too many Assassin's Creed games, but yeah, Final Fantasy 7, Marvel's Avengers or whatever. Yeah, it was decent for that.
Stray.
That's good stuff. That's exactly.
Right,
Stray.
These 2 PSP games, it's almost like, they are already forgetting about this. I mean, there's still a zillion PlayStation 1 games that we need to have on there.
Yes.
And I don't want to wait years for this stuff to get
what
Tekken
games they
3
own
and Ridge Racer Type 4. Yeah, games that they own. Or at least Tekken's Namco and Ridge Racer, same thing with Ridge Racer.
Right.
They have a partnership with Bandai Namco.
And I suppose maybe a lot of their games used licensed music and stuff, but
Alex Krebs says so apparently that was a leak from the PlayStation blog about Ridge Racer 2 and Dino Crisis from Italy's list that they deleted.
Right,
so
I wasn't sure if that's what you were referring to. I heard that they deleted that. Yeah,
those would be much more exciting.
Yeah.
What were they even actually? I can't even remember.
Roco Loco Dinosaur Planet or whatever the fuck it was for PSP.
One of them. Not even just Loco Roco.
Yeah, right. It was like the PSP sequel or whatever, and then I don't even remember what the other one was. It was bad. Maybe not bad, but 2 PSP games feels like almost insulting. It's almost insulting. I don't get it.
Even when Nintendo was doing NES games, we got 3 at a time at least, right?
Yeah, weird. Fair enough. But so what do you think it's going to take to get that tier to feel right? For me, it's okay, at this pace, years. It's going to take years to kind of get to a decent point.
A while.
Yeah.
For, the classic game stuff to feel a lot better. So I don't know.
I think they need to get to a point where they have basically every game that was on the PlayStation Classic on the PS1 tier and kind of equivalent selections for PS2 and PS3, and then I'll probably feel really good at that point. That seems right. All right. From Jeremy G, my Corgi Moose will be competing in the Minnesota Corgi races soon. If you could pick any random animal, alien, or creature from a video game to race in a track for your amusement and or gambling purposes, which would you choose?
Yoshi's are immediately obvious because I think about that racing mini game with
Boshi, yes.
Yeah.
Or why Yoshi or whatever it was in the Japanese version, but Boshi. Yeah. Boshi's my true guy right there. The only thing I keep thinking of is that dog character from Jet Force Gemini. Because he's like an alien and a dog, an alien and a random animal, and so the question kind of just pushed me in that direction.
No, he seems like he has too much free will then to be forced to against.
Right, that's the messed up thing about Yoshis are just platforms. Yoshis are just things you jump off of to get to the other side. Let's see, Mr. Bowler. Oh, no, I think we touched on that one earlier. Hosp, hey, yo, Messy Boys. How can people talk about a summer game drought when Power Wash Simulator is out today on Game Pass, the absolute best?
Yeah, I do want to play some more of that.
I'm going to be playing more of that on Friday. We're going to be doing that during UPF. Well, we got I think we got 6 players all getting together to play.
Escape Academy came out too. Did you?
I've not touched it.
You haven't touched it? Maybe me and you can play some of that tomorrow.
It's got co-op. Yeah, that would be fun. That's a good idea. That's a good one that we could definitely stream.
I played one of those levels at Summer Game Fest, and it was fun.
People seem to be into it. I think I did a quick look at that with Jess O'Brien at GiantBomb Voidburger, and she used to like run a very good escape room thing, and so she's got like this very specific eye for it. And you could like hear like how she was like breaking down every little piece of this sort of facsimile of what she really did. And so like for her, it was like, I think it was, she's a tough crowd to impress, but I still got the impression that she's like, this is still pretty good. And I think, okay, for me, I'm like, oh, I'm probably really going to like this. Cause going to an escape room is just not something I've done in my life, but I definitely have interest in it. I think a video game is maybe a good bridge for me to like get into that whole concept overall.
I really want to go to escape room. I think a lot of my friends think that they're lame, but I really want to do one. At Universal, I think they're making a Back to the Future specific one that I'm going to probably do with my brother when I'm there in November.
Ooh, fun.
That sounds good.
From Good and Creamy, with the impending release of Into the Breach on mobile for the first time, I'm actually excited for a Netflix game release. Considering the port works well, what other games would you like to see ported to mobile that for whatever reason never did? I'm hopeful for FTL and would love to see Luck be a landlord ported to phones. Now, FTL was ported to tablets at the very least, so I would assume it works on some phones. Maybe it's not on Android. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Geoff, we talked before. I just don't like playing games on my phone. I don't know if there's anything they can put on there where I was like, I can't wait. Oh, I want to play this on my phone really badly now. So
I have a games folder on my phone, and here's what's in there. It is basically just a bunch of word games. Wordle, Semantle, which is like the semantic version of Wordle, Quordle, which is just Wordle with 4 words, and then Not Words, which actually is an app. Like all these other ones are just links to websites. Not Words is actually an app, and that's from Zach Gage. So I'm like, oh, Zach Gage, he's a good developer. I like that.
My favorite mobile game of all time was some mobile version of Scrabble that we played when we were in lines for stuff in Disney World one time, and now it's ruined because you have to get like the ones based off of Words with Friends that are not even designed for phone passing anymore, right? It's just all about sending it to your friends through the internet, and it's good.
Yep, it's I'm like, I kind of like an old man with my phone, so I'm just gonna play my puzzle games from the papers, and then that's it, and then I'll read the funnies and move on with my life.
That's just the one that I was gonna get mad about.
From Turbo Sean, Mike, how does it feel knowing I got Neon White just last night, and I'm already beating your times?
Probably beating my times on the ones I just cleared once and moved on from. He's probably not beating any of like my grinded times.
I've noted he did not mention me.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe are we friends on Steam, Turbo Shot? Maybe not. Maybe that's what it is.
Did you beat my Glassport time? I doubt it.
Yeah.
Did that even beat my Cascade time, which Geoff took back, and I had to get on that. So.
Bench JC, #1 Red Steel fan, Red Steel 2 fan, Jedi Moss 4, Au Pair, and 2 others laughed at Turbo Sean's thing here. So,
wow, you think that's funny, huh?
They've been.
I'll put my grumpy Arby's face emoji on it instead. There we go.
That's a grubby. Wow. Let's see. Bench JC. Hello, messmen. What game genre is your comfort genre? A genre you use to just take your mind off things and help temporarily forget about bad stuff in life that can happen. Mine is JRPGs. I love to just jump headfirst into one and be immersed in that world.
Yeah,
I wish that worked for me.
I don't normally think about it like that. If I'm like down and I need to distract myself, almost anything will do, Geoff. I do play a lot of JRPGs sometimes. I do like RPGs for that because they demand a lot of attention, right? You have to kind of focus on that. You have to really get absorbed in the story and all of that stuff. So, if you're really trying to distract yourself, it is pretty good for that. But I mean, I don't know if that's necessarily when I think of a comfort genre. When I think of a comfort genre, I am thinking about like retro side scrollers, like my Mega Mans and stuff like that.
Let's see, from Au Pair, which might be a reference to an au pair. I don't know. Dear Mike, Hanky Panky Minotti, and Geoff Pina Colada Grubb. I've been craving to do some Gears of War on my Steam Deck, but sadly only 5 in Tactics are available on Steam. Do you think the rest of the games could make their way there? I wonder if, I never heard anything about that collection that was being rumored or whatever. But maybe it was like, oh, let's take the collection and just put it out on Steam so it's available there as well. Maybe something like that could happen still, but I don't know. Probably not. I'm more hopeful that Microsoft will just do a little bit extra work and make Xbox, the Xbox app sort of installable on Steam Deck, so you could just install games natively and run them that way. That would be fantastic. Probably not going to do that though.
Imagine someday that like first trilogy is going to get some kind of a glow up though, right?
Yeah, I mean the thing is like Xbox backward compatibility has really done a lot for that. I mean, you know this because of Mirror's Edge, right? Although you know you're playing the PC version of Mirror's Edge and on the Steam Deck, and that's pretty good too, right? So
it was good, and then it got to the point where the cops were chasing me and shooting glass, and then the frame rate went to 10, and then it crashed.
Okay, fair enough.
So back to Xbox for that one.
That's weird. That game's sold. It should run fine. I wonder if that's just
well, it was a question mark support, so I don't know what happened there. Maybe I need to update it, but yes, because it was running great until then, and all of a sudden it just the frame rate just dived, and then it just crashed. I was like, oh, something bad happened here. Because it's actually a really nice game with the back paddles.
Yeah.
Because like that game has you using like the triggers for running and jumping. Instead, I had that stuff on the back paddle, so it just felt super comfy with that. There's a comfort game for you, Mirror's Edge. God.
Oh yeah, I don't know if I answered that.
That just puts me in a happy place.
My comfort is basically time trials games. So literally trials and stuff like Neon White. That's anything where I turn my brain off and it's just about reacting. That's my happy place. Newfie legit. Good afternoon, evening, gentlemen. It's been a while since, so had time to ask a question. But I was curious about a game that might be getting overlooked for Xbox and Game Pass this fall. That would be the release of Deathloop. Do you guys know if that was a year exclusive for Sony, and then it might come out this fall for Xbox, or would it be a little later than that? Thanks and have a great weekend. I think it's probably a year, and I think they probably can't talk about it until that year is up. So I think the year will probably expire, and they'll be like, and this game is out in 2 days. Something like that.
It'd be a nice little get for Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, I love Deathloop. Deathloop is fantastic. I think it's going to do better as a Game Pass game than it ever would have done as a PlayStation 5, like $60 or $70 game, whatever it was. Just because it's a really good one of those for people who haven't played a lot of those before, or who have struggled to get into an immersive sim before. So I'm hopeful that it does really well on Game Pass. From Turbo Madden. Looking at the recent classic game additions for PlayStation Premium, it's nice that a couple of PSP games got added, but man, that selection continues to look lacking. Considering that we are only getting 2 new games in the classics lineup this month, is this going to be the exception where Sony adds 2 or 1 to expectation? Thank you. Where Sony adds 2 or 1 to 3 PS1, PSP games for a month to that tier. Why do you think Sony isn't making much of an effort to make the classic game selection of PS Premium more plentiful and appealing? Now, we talked about this, Mike, already, but that question specifically, why do you think Sony isn't making much of an effort? Do you think there's some mitigating factors we're not thinking about?
I don't know. Maybe I'm being pessimistic. Maybe they just... it's hard to... I want to say they don't care enough about it, but they have to, because it's the differentiating feature of their like top tier, right? Of their most expensive tier. It's just baffling to me, because you want people to be spending for this. So how do you not have at least a better drop than that? That was a pitiful drop. I can't explain it.
And it doesn't make sense from like a tactical position either, because it's usually what you do is you make that the medium tier something that is like, yeah, it's somewhat appealing, but only for a few dollars extra per month, or a few dollars more than that per year. You get all this extra stuff, and then you're thinking about how I'm only spending a little bit more than the medium tier, and you're actually spending all this extra money compared to the bottom tier. But in this situation, it's like, oh, fuck, I'll just get the medium tier. I'll be good. Well, why would I ever go over there? And it just seems like they haven't fully thought through what their value proposition is. And now that it's time to back up that value proposition, they have nothing. And it's just not a good look.
Yep, shame.
Dr. Turbo Sus, I saw a lot of buy physical influencers with the Ubisoft delisting debacle, but if I had bought No Man's Sky or the original Skyrim physically at launch, the game on the disc would be basically unplayable. Should the future of physical media and the digital future be the last version of the game, so the best version of a game is actually preserved, rather than a day one version? I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, every single update is preserved. Like, that's the ideal one. But to your point, Dr. Turbosus, that has nothing to do with the physical version. I'm definitely like a little bit sort of, and this comes from a point of view of me always buying digital and sort of feeling like, okay, I get that you are into your physical games, and it feels like that's where this is coming from. But people have a point to a certain extent with physical games should get you a little bit more security in terms of having your game long term. But for many games these days, that's just not true at all.
Right. And look, as a battle cry, it's a losing battle, Geoff. Things are going.
Yeah,
to
and they all know that too, for the most part. All the physical fans know that.
Right. It's, so as this kind of like battle cry in terms of this specific situation with whatever Ubisoft was doing there, it doesn't really matter because it's going to go digital anyways. What's more important is to make sure that digital games are treated better and aren't delisted. That's where, if we want to focus our ire or whatever gamer power we have, right? This is a gamer issue, Batman. That's where it should be.
BVammer points out, funnily enough, that is what happened with Psychonauts 2. The final version got its physical release. So yeah,
that's interesting.
That's kind of, and that probably happens with a lot of these like limited run games or something like that. Yeah.
I mean, that might be the future of it, right? It's like it's like vinyl. It's like a novelty. It'll be a novelty to own the physical version.
Oh, absolutely.
And it comes out like a year later through companies like Limited Run and whatnot.
Absolutely. Yep.
They're like these premium collectible items, really, is what they are.
Yes. I mean, that'll never go away. There will always be at least these limited run style companies doing that stuff. And so, yeah. From Jump Matt, with Sony releasing their first party console games on PC, what are the chances they release PSVR games on other platforms? I'm wondering about this. I think that the move there is first make PSVR 2 compatible with PC and then start releasing those games on PC. Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard because they definitely are going to want to make sure they have some exclusives for PlayStation VR 2. And like their direct competitor there are PC gaming headsets, right? So it's even a little different than PlayStation 5 games because their direct competitor isn't necessarily PC there. It's Xbox. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's and it's just kind of a tough one because they want you to make that thing work and make it as viable as they want. They need the power of the PS5 they're plugging into because it's a Sony thing. They're gonna make it work with the PS5. It's like if it was like a standalone thing, kind of like the Quest 2, they could do a lot more with that stuff and make it much more open. But no, by making it tied to the PS5, it's going to be a little bit tough for them to be like, well, and then maybe also the PC, and then where do you buy our games? So I guess on Steam, it's tough. If they could just have their own store on the headset, that would be a whole other thing. Number one Red Steel 2 fan, Jedi Moss 4. How tired are you of buying physical versus digital debates? Yes. Yeah, buying physical is not a solution when PC games haven't done physical copies in a long time. Buying physical would not have helped Steam users be able to access their copies of AC Liberation. Where should people direct their anger at companies over poor digital rights management? I mean, Mike, you just answered this. Like, what's like?
Yeah, and I don't begrudge people who want to buy physical.
Definitely not.
That's a safer thing. In some ways it is, but it's not a losing battle. It's a lost battle, right?
Yes, it's over and done with, and we are just on the transition phase as these companies figure out what it's going to be for them in the future. Right.
But I always use the Best Buy analogy where when the Best Buy in Boardman, Ohio opened, first it had this giant CD section, a giant movie section, a giant video game section. CD section went first. The movie section is just now emptied out. It's pretty much gone. And now like the video game section is still there right now. That's going to be next. Yep.
It's just slightly more resilient than the rest of those for sure. And it's probably just because people still really like the secondhand market. And so that really helps justify purchasing physical games. And if that's your bag, man, I don't blame you for being into that because that makes it viable economically for a lot of people. Dugan, Daily Messy Boys, how do the Switch and Steam Deck cohabitate in your gaming habits? What game has completely sold you on the experience? Hoping to have one by 2025, maybe. Thanks, Deciders. Absolutely, Dugan. I am, okay. So, Mike, I don't want to not love my Switch. I always want to keep liking my Switch because I want to keep it in rotation. I want to be there and ready when new Nintendo games come out. I'm probably not going to be playing many more third-party games on the Switch going forward if they are on the Steam Deck. But when something like Live Alive is there, I'm like, oh yeah, the OLED screen is fantastic, and that does make it very easy for me to still have something to be like, oh, this thing is still somewhat special in terms of what it's doing. The screen is so magical, and it's nice that it's lighter and slightly more comfortable than the Steam Deck. It has its place, and I've been like, I do rotate them, and there are days where I'm like, I'm playing on my Switch today, and that's that.
Yeah, I mean, I use them very similarly. Where right now they're both on my nightstand by my bed, and they're the things that I play for an hour or two before I go to sleep. It's funny because when I picked up the Steam Deck, I first was like, "Wow, this isn't as heavy as I thought it would be." And then after a couple of days, I picked up my Switch. I'm like, "Wow, this is way lighter than I remember." Right?
Yes.
Like it kind of like went both ways somehow.
Mhm.
Yeah, the Switch definitely still has a place, just in terms of it's got a bunch of exclusives on there that I already really like playing there. A lot of games that just actually make a lot of sense on there, like even like Tetris Connect, stuff like that. Live, another good example. I even like the NSO stuff on there quite a bit, even though I know I can just do those ROMs and whatnot.
Yeah, I still like that too.
Yeah, so they're both coexisting pretty well for me. I guess what'll be interesting is if we have a Steam or the Switch 2, right? We'll see then.
Yeah. I expect the Switch 2 to do just fine and to bump the Steam Deck down a few notches in my estimation when it comes out, because I think it's going to be really impressive and all that stuff. And it's going to be just fine. But yeah,
my most played game on my Steam Deck has been Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed. By the way.
Really?
Okay, yes, that game is so good.
I mean,
it was funny because when I first played that game, I actually played the Wii U version, and I often played like the tablet, like in my bed.
Sure,
and,
yeah,
the connection
okay.
would be bad sometimes, and now it's like that, but it's actually working. Right? So I'm very happy.
The thing that
That
turned me
game is
into
crazy, Geoff. Like I forgot that like they have like all these weird Steam characters. Like Team Fortress is a character.
Really?
Yes, you have like weird like people from some of like the strategy games that they make, like some Russian commander guy. Danica Patrick is a character that you just like in between unlocking the Samba de Amigo person and Shadow the Hedgehog, you unlock Danica Patrick. You have budget records out there with not John C. Reilly doing the voice acting. The game is it's so beautiful. I love it.
Man, that's exactly where Sega should be.
Well,
just
right.
flailing in the dark
The
in a good way.
That was just Sonic Team Racing, which was so basic. It was just only the Sonic characters, and they're racing, and it's like they're racing on racetracks. They're not as like themed and wacky. I was like, who would like this more? This is clearly more boring. I didn't get that at all. But this game, it's good.
Let's see. Beef Hammer. In these dry gaming news cycles, do you miss the days when we were seemingly talking about new acquisitions weekly? Feels like forever since I heard the old saying, Microsoft is looking to acquire Sega.
Yeah, everything's a bit busy-ish. There's still been little things to talk about here and there.
It's a different world, too.
Yeah, but it does feel like that acquisition bubble maybe has popped a little bit. There's been some smaller things, Geoff, like Blizzard getting Proletariat. What Unity is merging with somebody.
Iron Source, yeah.
Yeah, but I think that, you're saying before how because of inflation, it was good to invest in games. Now inflation is getting so out of control. I think everybody's almost a little scared.
It's exactly what's happened. And it's like, instead of they still want to spend some of their money and get that stuff off their books, but they're also like, maybe we should just like convert it to cash and just let it sit cash is like losing money, but it's not losing money on like some of these investments have been losing money. So let's just we'll ride it out, and then also worry about maybe cutting back and cutting costs instead. Like that's the direction they're looking at right now, instead of at the acquisition direction. So
right. Plus, the Activision Blizzard thing's been getting a bit more like resistance than I think people expected. That could be another factor. So who knows? Yeah, it might be a couple years before this picks up again, or maybe we're fools and tomorrow, Microsoft's going to buy Sega.
I mean, acquisitions will keep happening. Nintendo acquired a company today or whatever that.
That movie company, yeah.
Dynamo or whatever it was. Nintendo Pictures. That's what I saved. I figure we'll save that one for Nintendogs.
Yeah,
for the
they
most
should
part.
Just hire Sakaguchi to make a movie for them, like he made that Final Fantasy movie.
Yeah, that's exactly. They should do that. All right. Revan, what's your favorite mod? I like mod 2 for finding even numbers, and I'm sick of mod 12 because timekeeping is a scam. Okay, well,
is this a StarCraft reference I don't get?
It sounds like to me like a base 2 or base 12.
What are those?
Counting. It's like time is base 12. Like it resets at 12. Whereas like our number system is base 10.
Revan making me feel dumb.
He's a smart lad. Gruntilda's ass, meanwhile.
There we go. That's my speed. Let's see what Gruntilda's ass has to say.
Will Nintendo ever have a legitimate working online service? The fact that Mario Maker Online multiplayer doesn't really work is insane to me. Such a missed opportunity. Yeah, it sucks balls. No, they'll never have anything that's like, I suppose eventually they will. It'll just be like when you could buy one off the show, like when they're like setting something up and say, hey, we're Nintendo, we need to like upgrade our servers or whatever. Oh, you want these servers? It just comes with a good online video game system. Yeah. They'll just stumble into it like that, and then that's when it'll happen. Mike, that does it for the Discord questions. So did we get any more super chats?
We did. But Geoff, are you excited for the Sega Genesis Mini 2 coming to North America?
I am. So I tried to go pre-order it.
That's the thing. It's a little weird. It seems like Sega of America is not producing the US. It seems like Sega of Japan is actually just like selling a North American version, but because of that, it's kind of expensive. It's like $100.
Right. Well, that's the problem. The $30 in shipping
because it's being shipped from Japan.
Fuck. Okay, I guess, but like you got Prime.
Right. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit of a bummer. But it's also like it's got the 6-button controller. It's going to have Sega CD games. It'll be more
have to get
so you
this.
Can probably put all the Sega CD games on there really easily.
I have to get this. And Mike, I got to look up why I have to get it. Let me see if I have this still in my Amazon orders. I don't know. I just like did this on a whim. It was for sale. And I'm like, I don't know why, but I really want this thing. I'm trying to log in my Amazon, see if I still have the pre-order. There was an Amazon a deal for the Sega Flight Stick that is going to work with this thing.
Oh my God! What are you gonna play with it? Afterburner?
I think so. Yeah. I would kind of just want it because it looks cool. but yeah, I'll play Afterburner or whatever. And so I'm like, well, then I gotta get the Genesis 2. Fuck. So like, as soon as I saw it, I'm like, all right, I'll go and do it. But I'm like, oh, this isn't official. This is probably just some reseller. So. Sega of Japan, huh? All right, I guess I'm gonna buy That's $130 is probably about how much it would cost.
Maybe I'll get one through work. I hope. But
I hope you do.
Yeah, it comes with Sonic 3D
I guess we
Blast.
should reach out to Sega and ask about it for work. I don't know.
I wish that they could work with that guy from Traveler's Tale who like released his mod for Sonic 3D Blast Director's Cut, which actually makes that a really good game. That'd be fun. I think the original is still fine. I think that's one of the weirdly maligned games that's completely okay, but the Director's Cut of Sonic 3D Blast is great.
I tried to play Sonic 3D Blast a couple times and just could not get into it, but or I thought it was bad actually, or maybe
you thought it was bad straight up. Get that Director's Cut. Maybe give it a shot. We'll see if you like it. Fair enough. We got one more super chat here from King is Overrated. Thanks for the advice on adulting last week, guys. Got news: our car has extended warranty and won't cost a penny to fix the transmission. Thanks for the vibes. There you go.
That's fantastic. I'm really happy to hear that.
I take full credit for that.
That's what helped me with my transmission is that extended warranty. Now I did not do the thing where like, hey, we've called to contact you about your car's extended warranty. I just bought one when I bought the car used, but apparently it was a pretty good company, and that was a pleasure to work with for the mechanic I had. So it was a big relief. Otherwise, would have been way too expensive to fix.
One Up versus CPU threw in a question here after we started in the Discord.
Oh yeah, hit it.
Hello, Geoff, #1 Naruto fan Grubb, and Mike, #1 Hiroki Goto fan Minotti. Actually, this is a weird reoccurring joke between me and my one wrestling fan friend Penny.
Yeah, you're one wrestling fan.
My one wrestling, excuse me, Fred. Penny, who's coming to run his name, is actually the big Goto fan, and I don't know why, but that's the reoccurring joke. Is that my dog Penny is just a super fan for this New Japan Pro Wrestling mid-carder Goto. And like whenever my friend asked me on the show, I was like, yeah, it was good. Penny was upset Goto didn't win. We'll just like treat it dead serious and things like that. So yes, Penny is the big Goto fan. Anyways, he says, I just want to request that you guys take a picture together in front of an Arby's. If we look, I don't know if we're gonna go out our way, but if we can find an Arby's.
Yeah, Saturday. If there's one like a quarter of a mile down the street from where we're at, we'll walk there. We will, but that's my only promise to you is if it's under a quarter of a mile.
Yes, exactly. But yes, that is it, Geoff. We are caught up on everything. Have you been playing anything pretty interesting aside from the Neon Whites and what have you?
I started the Chinese section of Live Alive. I've been enjoying that. It's just I don't know. There's something pleasant about that game where it's like there's just enough going on to kind of keep me interested and keep me hooked into there. I've also been playing a little bit of Kentucky Route Zero. I started that.
You started it.
And I realized I've started it before. I think when they finally put out the last episode on PC, I was like, I'll look into this. And I'm like, man, this is so familiar. And yeah, I definitely did that. I played at least through like half of the first episode, I think. It's more playable than I thought it would be. I'll say that.
Yeah, I mean,
for me,
this isn't our thing in general. These kind of pick your dialogue choices games.
Right. The ones that work for me is I think I know why like the Telltale ones work, and the Telltale ones are definitely more hokey and cheesy compared to what they're doing in Kentucky Route Zero. But I like it because it feels like the way they present it in Telltale anyhow is you can make the right decision here, even though it feels like there's nothing but bad decisions. Like you could figure it out. If you're smart enough, you can figure it out. Now that's of course not true, but it feels that way. In this, it just feels like I'm just basically gonna make decisions, and it's gonna affect things, but I don't even really know what the goal is, let alone am I gonna be able to pick the right thing. And so I have to be invested in the story, and I'm trying to go and approach this on an even keel where I'm giving it a fair shake to win me over on that front. But I am just not. That's not my natural proclivity to try to like engage with the game on that level. So I am forcing it a little bit, but to be fair to the game club, I am gonna try to force it a little bit. And I'm okay with that.
Man, apparently
so far
there's a
so
video
good.
of you playing Kentucky Route Zero even.
Yeah, was I playing it in that video? I didn't actually look at it,
I don't
but
know. It's called some video you uploaded in 2020 called Kentucky Route Zero Hotline Call. I don't know.
yeah, that was like I called the hotline the second that they announced that the last episode had a date. 'Cause for years, you could call this hotline and get updated about like what the status was of the last episode of Kentucky Route Zero. They're like, it is still in development. Thank you for your call, and it would hang up on you.
That's what that is.
And I got like the press release that they were going to release it. I'm like, oh, I'm going to call that thing and make a video about it. And I had never played Kentucky Route Zero before, and then I think I felt like I felt like obligated. I felt like a fraud. So I'm like, I should just go play this so I can see what everyone's excited about. But yeah. How about you, Mike? You playing anything?
I've been, well, you know, aside from my usual Final Fantasy 14 and Neon White Ink, been messing around with the Steam Deck a bit. I had that Mirror's Edge adventure earlier. A lot of Sega in Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing Transform. Actually, I think it is Sega Sonic and Racing. It has an awful name, Geoff.
Yes, it is. It is a mess of a name. Like it's got a lot of twists and turns in there.
Yeah, started Divinity Original Sin for like the third time in my life, so I could play through some of that. But yeah, just I ended up
the second one or the first one.
The second one. Oh, I think everyone just plays the second one.
Yeah, that's right, that's why. Yes, I was making sure. Yes, I want to get back into that game too. I had fun from what I played. Yeah.
I have like player's remorse because there's a trait you can get for your character or whatever it is called Lone Wolf, where you only have one party member, and then your stats are just kind of increase the scale with it. And people say it's actually it's a lot easier, more convenient way to play the game because you don't have as much inventory management. You don't have to control as many characters, so battles are faster. Now the downside is you don't get as many like character stories and stuff like that. But it kind of sounds like an appealing way to play through the game the first time.
Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed.
That's it. I always thought it was Sonic and Sega All Stars. Like, what kind of All Stars? Well, I guess Danica Patrick's not specifically a Sega All Star. Same thing with Wreck-It Ralph. So, sure. Or Team Fortress. That's the name of the kart race. It's just Team Fortress because like who's driving changes depending on if you're flying.
Oh yeah, like Duck Hunt, Dog or whatever. Yeah.
But man, the Panzer Dragoon racing track in that game, I think is the best track in any racing game ever, by the way. It's number one.
I need to spend some more time with that game. I played it a little bit.
Cool.
Yeah, people like it a lot.
It's really well done. Like the tracks, so that's the thing where like sometimes you'll be flying or sometimes you'll be in your boat. So it's like Diddy Kong Racing, but like you transition between those three states. And the tracks themselves change each lap. So like in the Panzer Dragoon one and like the last lap, like the track just crumbles in front of you and his dragon takes off and now you're like flying through all this stuff that you were just racing through before. It's so cool.
They should just like, instead of like trying to like do a new kart racer with a new thing like they did. What was the one after that?
Sonic Team Racing. It was just like more like a racing game and it was only the Sonic characters.
They should keep the brand should be transformed and they should just do different genres using the same exact concept and most of the same characters. And they should just do their own platform fighter transformed and like things transform during the middle of the match and stuff. And
it was such a stronger gimmick than like Sonic Team Racing's game. It was like you have two teammates on the course with you, and you can like bump into each other. It's like what, compared to the like literally transforming your car into a plane, and also you're like the guy from Jet Grind Radio,
right?
You're on a Shinobi level. Like not nearly as interesting.
No, that's that is very exciting sounding. Maybe we'll play some of that too. We got a lot we're gonna do. So. Anything else, Mike, that you've been playing?
That's it. That's coming to my mind that I can talk about for now, at least.
You played any PlayStation games on the Steam Deck? Because that BIOS really is good when it starts up. That's the sound it makes, man. Those speakers on that Steam Deck.
I haven't done too much yet. But AJ was like giving me, he was like just transferring things on my Steam Deck, and he had to like leave halfway through because he had to go home. So part of me is like, I want to just get him to do the whole thing before I mess around more.
Fair enough.
I was having trouble with actually Dolphin, and apparently you can. There's like, I had to like select a different version of Dolphin or something on my Steam Deck to get it to work. So I have to fuddle around there more right now, and I don't want to fuddle quite right now when I have some of this other stuff to play with. So
and then if it's it might not be configured right, but it should be if you're using EMU Deck, which I'm sure he is.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll bring my Steam Deck tomorrow when I come see you. So
sounds good. Okay, cool.
We'll have funsies.
All right. Well, Mike, I say we wrap this up. Where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at gamesbeat.com. We'll be back on Tuesday for last of the Nintendogs. Geoff and I will be hanging out this weekend. Maybe we'll do something. I'm sure we'll be on Twitch or something at some point.
Yeah, we'll get on Twitch tomorrow night. We will.
Yeah, we'll have fun. And then 90s Disney, my 90s Disney podcast at 90sdisney.com. Geoff.
Yeah, I'm twitch.tv/Geoff Grubb. I'll definitely be streaming there. I'm Geoff Grubb on Twitter. Come hang out with me. Send me tweets, I guess. Is that what that means? But join the Discord. Discord was where the community is usually at. I try to check it out a couple times a day, see what people are talking about whenever I get some time. But then on Friday nights, we're usually doing something. Most Friday nights per month, throughout the month, we are hanging out. We're doing a game night. We're doing a Jeopardy game or something like that. You could be a part of if you're a member of the Patreon or something like that. So just come hang out. It's a lot of people in there. There's usually like 500 people online on Discord who are members, like active members of the community at any one time. So it's big, but it's still like really inviting and nice. And again, the mods. So thank you to the mods for keeping it that way.
No Fall Guys tomorrow, Christian. Geoff and I are doing other things.
Yeah, well,
touching butts.
We'll see how we're feeling once the stream is live, but we're not going to plan anything out like that. So
yeah.
no commitments.
Just goofing around on co-op together. More
exactly.
Doing, things like that.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or what have you. Well, who's your guest tomorrow on Game Mess Mornings?
Tam should be on there. I'm having Tam on tomorrow. So Tam's the regular Friday slot, and he should be available. But yeah,
I enjoyed watching him fight the giant tank thing in Metal Gear Solid. What's that called? Because it's not a Metal Gear. It had a different name at the end of Snake Eater. That's not a question for you, Geoff. I know you don't know.
I know. It's Kojima's Beast is what it's called. Kojima unleashes the beast. All right. Usually I say, like, you got any plans this weekend? But yeah, I know you do.
My plans. My plans involve you. The Shagglehod. Yeah, how could I forget the Shagglehod?
How could you forget the Shagglehod?
It is something like that. Shagglehod. That's right. It is. Yeah, my mistake. Right. I feel much better.
Shagglehod, everybody. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.
Something awesome. I say Shagglehod, baby.
Shagglehod.
Cutting up.